Admiral Chen stood at the viewport of Orbital Station Delta, watching Earth's first contact scenario unravel into disaster. The Nexari diplomatic vessel hung in high orbit like a crystalline dagger, its translucent hull refracting sunlight into rainbow patterns across Earth's atmosphere. Beautiful, but deadly. "They're broadcasting again, Admiral," Lieutenant Santos reported, her voice tight with tension. Same message as before. Chen didn't need to hear it repeated. The Nexari's terms had been clear. Earth could either submit to protective oversight by their empire or face immediate military action. They'd dismissed humanity's attempts at negotiation with the same patronizing tone they'd used since arrival. "Primitive species require guidance," their ambassador had declared during the first meeting. "Your nuclear weapons and chemical rockets pose a danger to yourselves and others. We would be remiss in our duties as an advanced civilization to allow such unstable elements to continue independently." What the Nexari hadn't noticed, or perhaps hadn't cared about, were the subtle signs of human advancement their scanners had missed. The quantum computing arrays hidden in Antarctic research stations, the gravity manipulation experiments conducted in underground facilities, the antimatter containment research buried beneath the Sahara. Chen remembered the classified briefing just 6 months ago, when Earth's United Defense Council had revealed the existence of Project Prometheus. "We've cracked it," Dr. Patel had announced, her eyes bright with equal parts excitement and terror. "We can manipulate fundamental forces at a quantum level, but the power requirements are astronomical." Now, watching the Nexari ship's arrogant display of supposed technological superiority, Chen felt a grim smile tugging at his lips. Humanity had learned long ago to hide its true capabilities. Every war, every conflict had taught the same lesson. Appearing weak while harboring hidden strength was often the key to survival. "Admiral," Santos interrupted his thoughts, "we're detecting multiple ships emerging from FTL. Nexari signatures. A lot of them." The holographic display lit up with dozens, then hundreds of contact markers. The Nexari hadn't been bluffing about their military response. Their fleet stretched out in a battle formation that would have been impressive if it wasn't so predictable. "Send the coded transmission to all Earth defense stations," Chen ordered. "Authorization code Phoenix Rising." "Sir?" Santos hesitated, her finger hovering over the command console. "This will be considered an act of war by galactic standards. We could still try to negotiate." Chen shook his head. "They made their choice when they threatened Earth. They see us as primitives playing with dangerous toys. It's time they learned why humanity survived every extinction-level event nature threw at us." As Santos transmitted the code, Chen thought about the centuries of human innovation and adaptation that had led to this moment. Every catastrophe, every near miss with extinction had pushed humanity to become more resilient, more creative, more determined. The Nexari, for all their advanced technology, had never faced true existential threats. They'd never needed to adapt or die. "Message received and acknowledged by all stations, sir," Santos reported. "Project Prometheus is active." Around Earth, hidden facilities hummed to life. Power plants that had been masquerading as regular fusion reactors began channeling energy into systems the Nexari scans couldn't detect. In orbit, seemingly defunct satellites quietly activated quantum entanglement arrays. The Nexari fleet commander's voice boomed through the station's communication system, translated in real time. "This is your final warning, Earth. Submit to Imperial authority or face immediate pacification. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to." The transmission cut off as Earth's quantum grid activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then Santos gasped. "Sir, the Nexari fleet. Their shields are failing. Their power systems are. It's like they're being drained." Chen nodded. "Quantum energy 7. Dr. Patel's team discovered that properly aligned quantum fields could tap into the zero-point energy that powers most advanced alien technology. We're not just blocking their power, we're stealing it." The Nexari ships began to drift, their crystal-like hulls darkening as their energy reserves depleted. Panic filled their broadcast channels as system after system failed. Their mighty fleet, capable of destroying planets, was being systematically disabled by technology they hadn't even detected. "Send the response we prepared," Chen ordered. "Let's show them what primitives are capable of." Santos transmitted the message, and holographic projectors around Earth activated. The image of a phoenix, rendered in quantum fire, appeared before the disabled Nexari fleet. When it spoke, it did so in every known galactic language simultaneously. "You assumed that because we hadn't spread across the stars, we weren't advancing. You mistook our caution for weakness, our reservation for inability. Humanity has learned through millennia of struggle that true power lies not in showing strength, but in knowing when to reveal it. You came to our home, threatened our people, and expected us to bow to your superior civilization. Instead, you will learn why every species that has ever tried to conquer Earth has failed. We are humanity. We adapt, we overcome, and we never, ever submit." The Nexari Admiral's response was immediate and considerably less confident than before. This is impossible. Your species, you're supposed to be primitive. Your technology is exactly as advanced as we chose to reveal," Chen interrupted. "Now shall we discuss terms of surrender? Your terms, to be clear. Because humanity's terms are simple. Leave our solar system and never return. Otherwise, we'll demonstrate exactly why we've kept our true capabilities hidden for so long." As the Nexari fleet hung powerless in space, Chen reflected on humanity's long history of being underestimated. From the first time one tribe assumed another would be easy to conquer, to now, when an alien empire made the same crucial mistake, humanity had learned to turn such assumptions into advantages. "Sir," Santos reported, "the Nexari Admiral is requesting to open diplomatic channels. He's apologizing." Chen allowed himself a small smile. "Inform them that Earth will consider new diplomatic relations once their fleet has withdrawn to a safe distance. And Santos, make sure they understand that any future interactions will be conducted with full recognition of humanity's sovereign status." The lesson was clear. Humanity's greatest strength had never been its weapons or technology, but its ability to survive, adapt, and overcome while appearing harmless. The galaxy would soon learn what Earth had known for millennia. Underestimating humanity was always a fatal mistake. The next 6 months transformed Earth in ways invisible to orbital surveillance. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Sarah Chen, Admiral Chen's daughter, supervised the final calibration of the quantum resonance array. Her team had worked tirelessly since the Nexari ultimatum, perfecting technology that would turn the laws of physics themselves into humanity's shield. Power fluctuations stabilized at 99.97%. Her assistant reported from the control station. The massive underwater facility thrummed with contained energy, its quantum cores pulsing in perfect synchronization with similar installations worldwide. To the Nexari's advanced sensors, these would appear as nothing more than geothermal anomalies, if they detected them at all. Sarah checked the latest intelligence report on her secure tablet. The Nexari were amassing the largest fleet in their empire's history, convinced that overwhelming force would quickly subjugate Earth. Their intercepted communications revealed a military leadership drunk on centuries of easy victories over lesser species. "They still think we're desperately trying to upgrade our primitive missile defense systems," Sarah mused, watching the quantum field readouts. "Let them think that." Above, on the ocean's surface, fishing boats continued their daily routines. Farmers tended their fields. Cities buzzed with normal activity. Earth had learned the art of appearing ordinary while preparing for the extraordinary. In lunar orbit, Commander Jason Rodriguez supervised the final phases of Operation Blindside. The moon's far side had been transformed into humanity's ultimate hidden arsenal, with quantum-linked weapon platforms buried beneath the regolith. To any observer, it would appear as nothing more than a scientific research station. Latest sim results are in, his XO reported. The Nexary's shield technology relies entirely on conventional energy fields. They've never encountered quantum phase weapons because they never imagined they were possible. Rodriguez nodded, remembering the early days of the project when their first attempts at quantum manipulation had seemed like madness. Their overconfidence will be their undoing. Status of the gravity lens array: online and masked. As far as their scans can tell, we're still using chemical rockets to ferry supplies to the lunar base. The greatest advantage humanity possessed wasn't technological, it was psychological. The Nexari, like many advanced species, suffered from their own success. They'd never faced extinction, never needed to think beyond conventional boundaries. Their technology had evolved in a straight line, building upon itself without the desperate innovative leaps that characterized human advancement. Back on Earth, in the Oval Office, President Helena Martinez met with the Unified Defense Council. Holographic displays showed the approaching Nexari Armada, now nearly 3,000 ships strong. Their latest message demands our surrender within 48 hours, she reported. They're threatening to make an example of Earth. Admiral Chen's hologram nodded grimly. Everything is prepared. Dr. Patel's quantum resonance technology has been fully integrated with Commander Rodriguez's lunar defense grid. The moment they commit their fleet, we'll have them trapped. And the civilian population? Martins asked. Evacuation protocols are in place for major cities, but our models suggest they won't be necessary. The Nexari won't get close enough to launch any planetary strikes. The president studied the tactical displays, showing Earth's seemingly minimal defenses. To think, all our centuries of warfare, all our near extinctions, were preparing us for this moment. We learned to hide our strength, to appear weak when we were strong, to think in ways our enemies couldn't imagine. The quantum tech was the key, Chen added. While they were perfecting their energy shields and plasma weapons, we were learning to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. They built better guns. We learned to change how reality works. In orbital stations and underground bunkers, submarine bases, and desert facilities, humanity's true defensive grid quietly hummed to life. Each installation was carefully masked, appearing as background radiation or natural phenomena to the Nexari's sophisticated sensors. Sarah Chen's voice came through the quantum-encrypted channel. Final calibration complete. All stations report ready. Quantum field coherence at optimal levels. Rodriguez followed. Lunar array primed. Gravity lenses aligned and masked. We can redirect their entire fleet into a killing zone the moment they commit to attack. President Martinez took a deep breath, looking at the holographic representation of Earth, appearing vulnerable, appearing primitive, appearing weak. Just as planned. Send our response to their ultimatum, she ordered. Keep it appropriately primitive sounding. Something like, Earth respectfully requests additional time to consider your generous offer of protection. The message was sent, encoded in simple radio waves. The Nexari commander's reply was predictably arrogant. You have your 48 hours. No more. Submit or be destroyed. Martinez smiled grimly. And now we wait. Let them come, confident in their superiority. Let them think we're scrambling in panic. Everything we've endured as a species has prepared us for this moment. As Earth's hidden defenses waited in perfect, invisible readiness, humanity continued its masterful performance of appearing primitive and frightened. The Nexari fleet grew closer, their sensors detecting exactly what humanity wanted them to see, a technologically inferior civilization, trembling before their might. They would learn, as so many others had learned throughout human history, that appearance and reality were often very different things indeed. The trap was set, the bait was taken, and humanity's response to their ultimatum would soon be written in the stars themselves. The Nexari fleet arrived with the dawn, their crystalline ships turning Earth's sunrise into a kaleidoscope of refracted light. Admiral Vaxthor, Supreme Commander of the Imperial Fleet, stood confidently on his bridge as final attack formations were established. "Commence the opening barrage," he ordered. "Show these primitives the futility of resistance." 3,000 ships fired simultaneously, their energy weapons creating a web of destructive force that would have annihilated any conventional defense. But the instant their attacks reached Earth's atmosphere, something unprecedented occurred. The quantum resonance grid activated. Sarah Chen watched from her underwater command center as the network she'd helped create performed exactly as designed. Every energy blast from the Nexari fleet was caught in a quantum interference pattern, their destructive potential absorbed and redistributed through the planetary grid. "Power capture at 100%, she reported through the quantum-encrypted channel. "Ready to initiate Phase 2. Commander Rodriguez's voice came through from the lunar base. "Gravity lens array active. Targeting solutions locked." The Nexari fleet's second volley died just like the first, absorbed into Earth's invisible defensive grid. Admiral Vaxthor's confidence began to waver as his sensors reported impossible energy readings from the planet below. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. Their technology was barely past nuclear fission. They had no planetary shields. That's when Earth demonstrated why understanding fundamental physics was more valuable than having advanced technology. The absorbed energy from the Nexari's attacks was channeled through the quantum grid, amplified by the gravity lens array on the moon's far side, and redirected back at the fleet. But this wasn't a simple reflection. The quantum resonance technology transformed the energy, matching the exact frequency of the Nexari ship's crystal lattice structure. The result was devastating. Ships began to shatter, their supposedly indestructible hulls resonating at their natural frequency until they literally fell apart. The Nexari's advanced shields, designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic impacts, were useless against an attack that worked with physics rather than against it. "Impossible," Vaxthor screamed as his fleet began to disintegrate. "Their weapons, they're using our own energy against us." "Not exactly," came Admiral Chen's voice over all frequencies. "We're using physics, the same physics that governs your ships, our planet, and everything in between. You assumed that because we hadn't built energy weapons like yours, we didn't understand how energy worked. That was a mistake." The Nexari's attempts to retreat were thwarted by precisely calibrated gravity wells, created by Rodriguez's lunar array. They're faster than light drives, trying to activate within the distorted spacetime, only accelerated their ship's destruction. Sarah's quantum grid continued its work, systematically dismantling the invasion fleet by exploiting the fundamental properties of matter and energy. No ship was directly destroyed by human weapons. Each one fell victim to its own physical properties, turned against it by humanity's deeper understanding of universal constants. "Stop this," Vaxthor pleaded. "You're violating every known principle of warfare." "No," Chen replied calmly. "We're simply applying principles you never bothered to fully understand. Your empire built bigger weapons. Humanity learned how reality works." Within hours, the mighty Nexari fleet was reduced to scattered debris, its remnants trapped in precisely controlled orbital patterns that would serve as a permanent reminder to any other would-be invaders. The quantum grid powered down, its energy reserves filled to capacity with absorbed Nexari weapon fire. Humanity had not only defended Earth, but had done so without firing a single conventional shot. They had turned the laws of physics themselves into their shield and sword. As the dust settled, Admiral Chen broadcast one final message to the surviving Nexari ships. "Remember this day. Remember how your most powerful weapons were turned against you not by superior technology, but by superior understanding. Earth isn't defended by our weapons. It's defended by our knowledge of how the universe works. Share that knowledge with your empire. Let them know that humanity doesn't need advanced technology to be dangerous. We just need to understand the rules of reality better than our opponents do." The lesson was clear. Humanity's greatest weapon had never been its technology, but its fundamental understanding of how the universe operated. The Nexari had brought superior weapons to the battle, but humanity had brought superior physics. In the end, physics won. In the aftermath of Earth's victory, the galaxy held its breath. The Nexeri Empire, once the undisputed master of 1,000 worlds, faced an unprecedented crisis. Their invincible fleet lay in ruins, defeated not by superior firepower, but by the elegant application of universal constants. High Council Chamber, Nexeri Prime. Emperor Zaxtidl faced his assembled advisors, their crystalline forms dimmed with shame. "Explain," he demanded, "how a primitive species destroy our finest fleet using physics we supposedly mastered millennia ago." Dr. Kira Patel stood before the council, Earth's chosen representative. The Nexeri had demanded her presence, desperate to understand their failure. "Your empire's greatness became its weakness," she explained. "You stopped asking why and focused only on how. You built bigger weapons without understanding the foundations they were built upon." She activated a holographic display, showing the quantum resonance patterns that had shattered their ships. "While you perfected energy weapons, we studied energy itself. While you built impenetrable shields, we learned to bypass the need for shields altogether. You saw physics as a tool. We saw it as a language." The council chamber erupted in angry murmurs. A senior scientist rose, his crystalline form pulsing with indignation. "Impossible. Our understanding of physics is complete. Our theories are empirically derived," Patel interrupted. "You observed effects and built upon them. Humanity started with nothing. We had to understand the why before we could even begin with the how. Your empire's technology evolved. Our understanding was born from necessity." Back on Earth, President Martinez addressed the United Nations. The quantum defense grid had been revealed to the public, along with the true extent of humanity's scientific advancement. "We hid our progress not out of fear," she explained, "but because we learned long ago that appearing weak while being strong is often the surest path to peace." The Nexeri Empire's response to their defeat shocked the galaxy. Instead of launching a retaliatory strike with their remaining forces, they did something unprecedented. They asked for teachers. "Our empire has existed for 10,000 years," Emperor Zaxtidl announced to the galactic community. "In all that time, we never encountered a species that could defeat us. Yet Earth did so not with superior weapons, but with superior understanding. We would learn from them." Dr. Patel established the first joint Earth-Nexeri Research Institute, where humans taught the fundamentals of quantum mechanics to a species that had wielded quantum weapons for millennia without truly understanding them. Admiral Chen watched from Orbital Station Delta as the first Nexeri science vessels arrived, not as conquerors, but as students. "They're still struggling to accept it," he told his daughter Sarah over quantum comm. "The idea that a younger species could understand the universe better than they do." Sarah's response carried a hint of amusement. "Perhaps that's the real lesson here. It's not about who has the most advanced technology. It's about who never stops asking why things work the way they do." The Nexeri Empire's defeat became a turning point in galactic history. Other advanced civilizations, watching Earth's victory, began to question their own understanding of the universe. The age of technological supremacy was ending. The age of fundamental understanding had begun, and humanity, true to form, continued to play the role of the humble student of the cosmos, even as they became its most profound teachers. They had learned long ago that true power lies not in showing strength, but in understanding the nature of strength itself. 1 year after the failed invasion, Earth had become the unlikely center of a galactic renaissance. The Quantum Understanding Treaty, signed by over 300 spacefaring civilizations, established Earth as the nexus of a new approach to scientific advancement. At the newly constructed Galactic Institute of Fundamental Physics in Geneva, Dr. Patel addressed an audience representing dozens of species. "The universe speaks one language, mathematics. But understanding its grammar requires more than technological advancement. It requires us to question everything we think we know." The Nexeri, once Earth's would-be conquerors, had become its most dedicated students. Their crystalline ships, redesigned with true quantum understanding, now served as research vessels, exploring the fundamentals of space-time itself. Admiral Chen, observing the joint human-Nexari training exercise, reflected on the transformation. The same quantum principles that had shattered the invasion fleet now powered a new generation of peaceful exploration vessels. "We turned enemies into students," he told President Martins, and in doing so, became students ourselves. The galaxy learned that humanity's greatest weapon had never been its hidden technology, but its endless curiosity and drive to understand. Species that had explored space for millennia found themselves returning to basic principles, discovering new insights in phenomena they thought they had mastered. Earth's quantum defense grid remained active, but its design was shared freely with other civilizations, not as a weapon, but as a teaching tool. "Understanding brings peace" became the motto of the new age. Knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied. The final irony wasn't lost on anyone. The Nexari's attempt to subjugate a primitive species had instead ushered in an unprecedented era of galactic cooperation and scientific advancement. Their pride had indeed come before their fall, but from that fall, the entire galaxy had risen to new heights. As Dr. Sarah Chen watched the sunrise from Orbital Station Delta, now an international hub of quantum research, she thought about how close the galaxy had come to endless war. Instead, humanity's response to aggression, using understanding rather than just force, had changed everything. "We taught them that the true measure of advancement isn't the weapons you build," she wrote in her memoir, "but how deeply you understand the universe those weapons exist within." In doing so, we didn't just save Earth. We helped save the galaxy from its own technological arrogance. The day humanity finally snapped had become the day the galaxy finally learned. And in that learning, every species found something they didn't know they were missing. The joy of discovering the universe anew, through eyes unclouded by technological pride. As Earth's quantum grid pulsed quietly in its endless vigil, its energy patterns told a story not of war, but of understanding. Not of victory through force, but of triumph through knowledge. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter in this new age of enlightenment, as if approving of the path humanity had shown the galaxy. It was, perhaps, the greatest victory humanity could have achieved, turning potential destroyers into eager students and showing the galaxy that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to understand.